All right, 5th grade. So I want to show you what pencils I'm going to be using. So if you get if you go somewhere like Hobby Lobby, you can get a kit like this of pencils. But what I like to look for in a pencil is, if you notice right here, they say letters and numbers. So for example, this pencil says 2B. Now a 2B is your standard pencil. It's what you've used since kindergarten. And you cannot get a super dark line with this, and shading is going to be a little bit more difficult. So what I really like to use, my absolute favorite is a 4B. Now a 4B is going to get you a really solid dark line, and you're going to have the ability to shade a little bit better. Now, because we're video recording and it's a little bit harder for you guys to see what I'm doing, I'm going to use a really dark one. This is a 8B. Now, I would absolutely stay away from some of the others like H. If you see something with H in it on a pencil, that's going to create a really hard but hard to see line. So I would stay away from the H's. Anything above a 2B, like a 3 or a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, where it says B, it needs to be like a 3B or a 4B, something like that. All the way to an 8 is a great pencil. So for this, I'm going to take a similar piece of paper, like kind of similar size. I'm going to go ahead and do a sharp line, I think. Let me find something. So I'll just take this and just get a nice straight line. Maybe kind of make it, do a couple lines, just so I know where my edges are. Let's do it down here too. And then over here. Okay. So I would say this is kind of similar to this. I can even check in here, make sure you guys can see what I'm seeing. I'm gonna go ahead and cut off about this much. So doesn't have to be perfect, but I am kind of making it into a similar shape as what, actually it is very similar to this right now. Okay, so when we have more time next week, we'll do a different technique where we're actually using our rulers, and we'll be very specific and get the exact same dimensions as the art that the painting that we're working on. Okay, so we're just trying to find the outline. That this is called negative space. So for example, let's look down here at the bottom and find where things start to change. So it starts to get a little bit of a different shape right at about here. So here's the middle, and then it's almost halfway down. So I'm gonna do kind of like a mark over here to find my middle, up and down. And I'm just gonna plop a line right here, just so I kind of know that where her arm ends in the end of that frame is just kind of in that general area. And then maybe I'll start trying to find this triangle shape just a little bit. So that triangle ends right about the middle of the painting, right over here. So I'm just going to make a line. Doesn't have to be perfect, don't worry about it. Up here, and see, that's kind of a triangle. So now let's do the top of her head. Let's see, that's about, it's straight down, so it's about here. And then look at this line. It turns into a big U You can almost imagine that U. So we're just gonna make a U. And again, this is literally just a series of mistakes and then honing those mistakes in. It should be very cathartic, knowing that it's okay to make mistakes. This is a pencil. We can erase. We can figure this out together. All right. So then we're going to find this shape. So look right here compared to over here. Here's a nice rectangle. So we're going to do like, see how we just created this shape. Now let's find this shape, which is literally just a rectangle. So look. And that looks right, doesn't it? It looks pretty right to me. So now let's go ahead and find this shape. So at the end of our rectangle, we're going to move over to the very center of the page, which is where her head is. Right in the middle of her head, right here. Okay. Again, don't worry about perfection. That only makes things harder. It's like the famous Broadway actress and singer, Bernadette Peters. She used to say, don't think about singing it, just sing it. Because if you think that something is hard to do, then it suddenly becomes hard to do. But if you think something, if you just don't think about it and just do it, then you can do it. You almost always can end up doing it with a little practice. Okie dokie. So now we're going to find this other line. So this is kind of an interesting shape right here. It looks like kind of the state of Idaho. So we're going to make sure we get that shape. And then just cross it when it starts to become kind of unknown and you're like, ooh, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. Just go ahead and stop and just block it off. So, okay. So then right here, you've got a little, like her hair does, is kind of crunched a little. So we're gonna go ahead and crunch it just a little. This is not quite the same as this. There's a little bit more, but I have realized that I didn't make this quite wide enough. That is totally okay. I'm fine with that. I'm just looking for this line. I know that I've got this area pretty much right. So we're good. We're good to go. So I'm just gonna tuck this in, make that into an abstract line. So right here, just an abstract line. Her hair goes down a little bit more. And then we're gonna make this real interesting, what is this shape? What state? Like maybe Utah or something. So I'm gonna start going in. And then a poofy shirt. Don't think of it as a shirt. Think of it as an abstract line. All right. There you go. Not bad at all. Can you guys, I hope you guys can see this pretty well. I'll go ahead and make these lines a little bit darker. Okay. So now we've got her outline, and this is called negative space. So now we can start maybe down here. It starts, so this is where it starts to get a little bit fun and a little bit tricky. You see over here, you cannot differentiate the difference between where her arm ends and where the shadow begins. It's really fascinating. That is called a soft line. It's so soft that you cannot tell the difference. And that makes it extremely interesting. So we're just going to, you can find the line a lot better if you squint. So go ahead and squint. And where I can kind of see it is in these jagged edges. And then it goes into her wrist and stops at her hand. And then you start seeing this shape. So the shape that I really want to try to find right here is this shape. But I do want to know where to find this line right here. So I need to look at the very bottom of the page and then move my eye up and see about how far up that will go. If I do here, is that gonna look right? There you go, that might be a little bit better. Compared to this line and this line, yeah, okay. A little bit up, maybe even more. Okay, so I'm just gonna go out. We'll make those, I'm just gonna go straight out, find that wrist. So make this into a box in your head. This also is towards the top of her shoulder. See this line? Run it straight up until you hit an edge. Find that edge here. So it's about the same, right? So this is where her wrist is. So we have figured out from going up here and over, and then just got to find out where things sit. So that's the top of her wrist, and we're gonna go down, over, try to go back and make it into the abstract. Doesn't have to be perfect right now. Make it into this funky shape. Again, it looks kind of like the bottom of Idaho or something. I'm gonna kind of try to find where this area is. See this line? I don't know if you can see it. It's a really faded line. I want to find where this is. So I'm gonna go to the middle, find the middle. Here's the middle for here. And it's just a little bit over to the left. So I'm just gonna go a little bit over to the left. I'm gonna go all the way up again. So yeah, that also falls at about her shoulder line. Oof, let's see. Maybe not quite that. Okay, there. So it goes up to about here. So yeah, that'll do. I wanna do it a little bit in between where I think it is and where this thinks it is. Hold on, sweet pea. Give me 1 minute, okay? Okie dokie. So I'm gonna do somewhere in here and kind of go up, down. I'm just gonna make this into a line. So up, over, and then let's go ahead and find that shape. See how we're doing on time. Okay. All right, so to get the hand,